Mom, the children at school don't believe that God exists. For instance, my friend Vera says that if she could see God just once, then she would believe in him.
We are surrounded by the beauties of nature, which didn't come into being by itself. Someone made it. Is that not enough for someone to believe?
It's enough for me, but not for them. Something needs to convince them.
I once heard a true story about a man who denied that God exists.
Ah.
Even so, he met him.
Tell me, Mom.
This is the story of a man who really didn't believe in God. This man was called Ivan. He lived in the north, in a land of cold and snow. He had the reputation of being an honorable man. He was part of the village leadership, but he declared everywhere that God does not exist. One day, Ivan had to go to the neighboring village to give a speech at an assembly meeting. Ivan was a strong, brave man. He was a good speaker. The weather was pretty cold. The countryside was covered with a thick blanket of cold snow, and night was falling. The meeting was at 8 o'clock in the evening. He was striding quickly in order to arrive in time. By the time he had walked a few kilometers, it was completely dark. He had brought a lamp, so he would not get lost. Arriving at the edge of the wood, he continued along a familiar shortcut. Here he couldn't see anything, so he switched on the lamp and followed the narrow path through the wood. As he was walking, he was composing his speech in his mind. Suddenly, the silence of the wood was broken by a howl. Ivan's blood froze in his veins. He was chilled with fear, and his heart began to beat faster.
Wolves! That's wolves!
He turned off his lamp.
Maybe the wolves won't notice me. The howling seems to be getting closer. I can't wait any longer. I'll switch on the lamp.
And what did he see? A dozen almost starving wolves scarcely 20 meters away. Ivan was terrified. He didn't have a moment to lose. He turned back and began to run with all his might. The wolves were getting ever closer. They almost caught up with him. Just a few more seconds, and the wolves would jump on him. Ivan realized he was lost. In this situation, he had no time to think about whether God exists or not. He suddenly stopped, fell on his knees, and cried out,
Oh God, save me from the wolves! Oh God, save me from these wolves.
All at once, the wolves stopped. They walked around him, sniffing, but they did not harm him. They were just waiting, walking round and round. After a few minutes, Ivan stood up. He hoped that he would be able to continue on his way. Scarcely had he stood to his feet when the wolves started to come closer and become more threatening. Ivan fell to his knees once more and shouted,
God, I have sinned against you until now, but today I give you my life!
He stayed there on his knees all through the night. There, where he first gave his life to God, he first felt the presence of God. On that night he discovered that God really exists, that he is powerful, that God loves him, and that he wants to live with him and beside him. So he knelt there until the sun rose. Then the wolves went away, one after the other. Ivan escaped, and on that night he understood that by this miracle God had revealed himself to him. For him it was as if he had seen God face to face.
I tell the children about this. What an exciting story! And what's more, it's